What's up, people? I am back. Sorry, I tried doing this video like 3 or 4 times last night, and my phone kept fucking up. And by the time I was too tired to do another one because the other one was almost like 30 minutes. I was on a groove. So yeah, I decided I'm just gonna do the video in the morning. So we'll just do 2 videos later tonight. I'm probably gonna after this video I'm gonna put on Extraction because that's gonna what I'm gonna be reviewing tonight. And yeah, Extraction is great. So I can't wait to watch those. Granted, I like the first one. I'm almost ready for next week because we're gonna do Extraction 2, and Extraction 2 was so fucking good. So I can't wait to talk about that. But I figured review the first one first, so we're gonna do that tonight. Tomorrow, I don't think I'm gonna do a video at all tomorrow. I'm gonna try to see Oppenheimer tonight. So if I do see it tonight, I will for sure review it probably Sunday. It'll probably be Sunday when I review it. If I don't see it tonight, I'll try to see if I can do it early Sunday. But I'm gonna try to see if I can do it tonight. Yeah. Either way, I'm gonna try to review it Sunday. That's the plan. But I'm gonna do. This was supposed to be a stream, but my shit kept fucking up. But I guess I'll announce this really quick before we get into it. I'm gonna try to stream again next month, or not even really next month. It's already almost the end of July, so I'll just say in August, sometime in August, I'll try to do a stream. What I'm gonna try to do though, I'll try to see if I can just stream from StreamYards and see if that will fix it. Like if that maybe will fix my audio and shit. But I'm gonna try that again next month. So because this was supposed to be a stream, but it didn't work out. But I figured since I did my second rewatch, why not do an updated ranking, because it definitely has changed. My top 2 haven't. Like season 2 is still the best season to me. Season 3 is the second best, but some of the other placements have changed for sure. And besides the last place, which I'm gonna guess we can get into now. Season 7 was, I guess before we get into pros, and because I'll start off with pros and then we'll go into the cons. There's a lot of fucking cons, but season 7, I guess starting off it has some good. Like it starts off decent. I just think really and I'm gonna go more into this when we get into the cons, but the potentials really fucking hurt it. I think they're a big part of the reason I don't like that. It's hard to get through that season, especially when we get into like the last few episodes, minus the finale. Like the lead up to the finale was just it was pain, man, with those potentials. But season 7, I think, has some good ideas. It tried to repair Spike, so I guess we'll start off. That's one of my cons, like pros. It tried to repair Spike after what they did with that moment in the bathroom in season 6. In my opinion, that really undid all of Spike's growth from seasons 4. I would say it kind of started in 4, but really in 5 is when he kind of became more of a hero. Like that moment when he refused to tell Glory that where Dawn is, that really showed like he's a good guy. So they were going from him being not just an anti-hero to a hero. So it's like I feel like season 6 in general a little bit undid it, and definitely that moment in the bathroom, because obviously I'm gonna say the attempted rape, and when you do something like that, I don't blame people when it's like it's kind of hard to like a character again. For me, I don't look at that as canon to me. In my head, he got his soul back in a different way. I hate that execution. I'm gonna get into that when we get into season 6. But so season 7 tries to fix them a bit. Same thing with Buffy. Like they try to fix their relationship because that shitty toxic relationship shit in 6, which I'll get into that too. So another pro, I thought the finale was good. Spike going out like a hero, ending it at the school made sense. Like that made fucking sense. It started at Sunnydale High, ending it at Sunnydale High makes fucking sense. And just in general, that was a good episode. Another positive. I'm trying to think of another positive. Faith. It was cool them bringing Faith back into the fold of the show. After her return in Angel. She came back in Angel season 4. Then she came because Angel season 4 was happening at the same time. Which I'll definitely do an updated Angel review because I only got like 2 more episodes left pretty much in the show in season 5. So definitely next week sometime. I'll do my updated Angel ranking because it's definitely a little. It's not. Maybe it won't be as much of an updated ranking because much of like most of it hasn't changed. Like Angel season 1 to me is still the best season. Season 2 is the second best. So, and then I would even say season 5, and I think I already even said that originally, is the third best. So really, it's only the last two that have kind of changed. So it's gonna be more of just my updated Angel thoughts. That's probably what I'll call that one instead of a ranking. It'll just be thoughts because the rank. This is definitely an updated ranking. And I guess we'll get into the cons now. Giles, man, what they do to Giles, it makes no fucking sense. Giles is so unlikable. They make him unlikable. He doesn't feel wise. All he does is bitch at Buffy that whole season. I get it. He had a little bit of apprehension about Spike not having, his chip, but I feel like he would have gotten over it. He wouldn't have went behind Buffy's back and did that whole thing with Woods. He understands that Spike can help him in the fight against the First. It's the same thing. Like he understood that with Angel in Buffy season 3. Even after what granted, Angel was Angelus, but still, when he killed Jenny, Giles still worked with Angel after. You know why? He knew Angel would be a help against the fight against the mayor. So I feel like he'd understand that. Why did they do? I still don't understand why they did that. It also felt like the conflict between him and Buffy was so forced. It wasn't natural. It just wasn't. It felt forced. It's like, okay, Buffy and Giles, we need some drama, so we're just gonna kind of manufacture one, and it was frustrating. And like I said, Giles is supposed to be wise, and he just did not feel wise at all that season. Theoretically, I can argue it kind of started with 6. He made decisions in season 6 that is questionable, but I feel like at least Giles in 6 still felt like Giles for the most part, besides the couple of those incisions. A lot of unexplored concepts. Like the First, I felt like the First was just all the First really did was pose as people who are dead and just shit talk. The First was such an interesting concept that they didn't explore. Like, it could transform and shapeshift into dead people. Why didn't the First transform into more, like, for Willow? You could have tried to get the actress who played Tara to come back for a few scenes and have her be, the First being Tara. Fuck, even try to get Seth Green back and you could have had him be Oz, You could have did something where the First was kind of tormenting everyone in the group. They should have did something like that. They did that a little bit, like with Spike, the First pose as Drusilla and Buffy, And there was the moment with Faith where the First was the mayor, which I thought that was funny. It was cool seeing the mayor again. But, there wasn't enough of it. Woods being the son of a Slayer, I felt like could have been way more explored. Because the actor who plays him is a really good actor. He's also at 24. I just felt like they didn't explore him. They could have explored his mom, too, because the most we know is she was a mom. He's the son of the Slayer that Spike killed in the 70s. Or in the second Slayer he killed. And they could have explored that more. Because they were trying to make it seem like that scene where Woods was fighting Spike and confronting him about what happened to his mom. They're trying to make it kind of care about his mom emotionally when it's like, we barely know her. All we know is Spike killed her and she's a mom. That's kind of all we got. They could have explored a character through Woods himself. I don't know. I just think there could have been more. And the concept of a Slayer having a son in general, that's an interesting concept. And they just didn't really explore that. Same thing with the First. The First, I think, why it also didn't work. It wasn't physical, so it couldn't do shit. So I had to rely on others. Like the Uber Vamps were cool, but they were very inconsistent with power wise. Because the first episode that they appeared in, the Uber Vamp was fucking a monster. It was kicking Buffy's ass. It was almost like Buffy struggled to kill it. It was like a genuine threat. It wasn't like, and it was just a vamp. It wasn't like a main villain, but she struggled with it. But then in the fucking finale, the Uber Vamps are just kind of just basically might as well just be regular vamps. They were just fodder. The only thing they had advantage was numbers. Um, so I thought that was weird. Caleb was cool. I guess he's kind of a pro too. He was a cool villain, but he was only around for a few episodes. He should have lasted into the school when in the finale. He gets killed like beginning in the finale. He should have been killed. If you're gonna kill him, it should have been at the school. I just felt like that final fight needed Caleb. He was such a good villain. The way, even just for a few episodes, Nathan Fillion played him was just, oh my god. He felt like a legit horror villain. Like he was a serial killer fucking preacher guy, you know? I don't know. In that episode, he was seen as like when when Buffy tried to attack him, yeah, Buffy and the Slayer potentials try to attack him, and he just whipped all their asses and took out when he took Xander's eye. Like he should have been around longer. I just felt like the other problem I had with the first, I didn't really feel like the first was even involved in the final fight much. And I get it's not a physical being, so I guess it can't really do anything. But I don't know. I felt like then you should have did a different villain if you're gonna do a villain like that. I get the idea, like the first evil being the original evil. That's how it's a good. On paper, that's a good way to end Buffy. That's the good final Buffy villain. But I just think they didn't really do more with the first. Another problem, and this is to me the biggest problem. I think this is what really anchored this season. The fucking potentials. I There was too fucking many. None of them you cared about. They were all nameless to me, besides Ronan Kennedy. And I think the other tall one, I guess, was somewhat recognizable. I can't think of her name right now. But in terms of names, Kennedy and Ronan were like the only real two. So it was like, then you should have just only had a couple. I like the idea of, oh, these are potential slayers, and the first wants to eliminate them because it's a threat. I get the idea. But you should have got better actresses, because the actresses they got just were not good. Kennedy was just there to be not Buffy, Willow's love interest, and it just didn't work. They had zero chemistry. Every time they tried to be romantic, it was cringy. Willow, I think writing wise, should have just probably been single this season after what happened with Tara. I just don't, and within a year, I just don't really know. And what theoretically, and also you can add what Tara's death led to Dark Willow. Obviously, what Willow did. So I just feel like, would she really be ready to jump into another relationship? Maybe you do it in like the last episode or something. She gets a girlfriend, but there was just no chemistry. Like you look at Willow and Tara or Willow and Oz, they had fucking chemistry, but both relationships, there was chemistry there. This was just forced. And not in like, oh, worst lesbian. It was more just forced relationship. Just well, I guess they felt like Willow needed one. I don't know. Rona was just all annoying, and I guess I can kind of put this on all the potentials. All they did was whine. They whined, "Oh, we're gonna die." They didn't have like a heroic bone in their body, Obviously, and also people questioning Buffy too. I had a problem with that. Was weird. Like Buffy's been doing this now for 7 fucking seasons. I felt like all the group would be like, "Yeah, Buffy. Yeah, she leads us." I get it. Buffy makes mistakes, and I think that's what they're trying to do. But you could have executed that better. It was bad execution. Um, the moment when they kick her out of her house, that pisses me off because that writing in general makes no sense. Why didn't you just have them leave? They all follow like Faith or something, or they all leave and then Faith just goes or says something to Buffy, then go. You should have just did something like that. That would have made way more sense. But the writing in general, why would her friends turn on her like that? And to me, there was no real moment of like consequence for that. Yeah, the next episode, I guess, when the potentials went with Faith to confront, Caleb, but it was a trap. I guess that was the consequence, and Buffy saves him. And then I guess there was a quick line that you blink, you miss it kind of thing. So it's like, you should have, if you're gonna do that, there should have been a real moment where like everybody's like, not saying like you have to do Buffy, we're sorry, but like there should have been some kind of acknowledgement. And to me that's minor though. Like my bigger issue is the potentials take away from the main core of the group. There was too fucking many. They were for me a waste of airtime when we should be focusing on the core group. To me, a final season of a show, when we've been following certain characters, it should be about them. I had my problems with Supernatural season 15, but one of the things it did right, it focused on the original three: Sam, Dean, and Castiel. They were like the main focus. Jack, who had been around for a few seasons by that point, but those main three were still fucking around. They were the focus of the season. They didn't just bring in a bunch of random characters, these random girls who were just there to fill screen time that you could easily just, that screen time could go to Willow, to Xander, more Spike screen time, more Buffy screen time, even more Giles screen time. Like, it was such a waste. Another problem, I'm trying to think. I think that's really it. Like, season 7 just was such a letdown. I think it was all over. It felt like, especially towards the end, it was literally they were definitely rushing it. You could clearly tell they just wanted to be done, and I think that's why the writing was all over the place. So, yeah, that's my weakest season, but I still think it definitely beats current TV. If I had to say my weakest season is that one. Now number, I guess, 6 technically, and to me, I don't really. It's more of a case of, it's season 1, Buffy season 1. It's not the best season because obviously the chemistry between the Scoobies and the group in general wasn't there yet. I felt like some of the acting obviously wasn't the greatest because as these characters were just coming into their own. I look at it as growing pains. It's a necessary beginning. Not the greatest season. The Master was a great villain. I think he's one of the best positives. He was a legit villain. He basically killed Buffy. Granted, she was dead for like a second, but it was very well done. But I do feel like it was yeah, the episodes were very basic, like, Mummy, Inca Mummy Girl. There was a witch episode. There was an episode about I did not like the hyena pack. I kind of skipped that one. That one to me is just it doesn't fit Buffy. That feels like a horror concept, not a Buffy concept. And Buffy to me is a different type of horror. That one felt like a different type of horror outside of the show. But I do think in general season 1 is still decent. It's growing pains. It sets up the scenario of the show, and which gives us season 2. So that's why season 1, I do think it's necessary. It is the second weakest season on if I'm being an objective level, it definitely is. But my number 5, I guess now, is season 4. Buffy season 4. I guess because we're getting close to the positive, I'll do pros first. Well, no, we'll do cons first, then pros. My cons really is Adam. He should not have been the main villain. But unfortunately, this was a case of just bad timing because Maggie Walsh, she was originally supposed to be the main villain. They planned on her being the bulk of the main villain. Adam was just going to be like her muscle. But because the actress, I think she had to leave. It was either a movie, because I looked into it. I think it was a movie. She had to leave for like a movie and just didn't have time to do both. That's why they kill her very abruptly in that season. But what it unfortunately gave us was Adam just could not carry the plot as a villain. He had no real vendetta against Buffy. The Master, like, for example, let's go through the other villains up until this point. The Master obviously has something against Buffy. She's the Slayer. That's it. Simple. Angelus was personal. The Mayor is kind of like similar to the similar to the Master. Like, she's a threat to my ascendancy. That's kind of how it is. So Adam really didn't have anything against her. You just kind of saw her as a chess piece in his game, kind of thing. Like. So, and then he had boring monologues. He was a good brute, but that was kind of it. He was clearly just supposed to be a brute. You could clearly tell, but they had to force him to be the main bad guy, and unfortunately. And also his design, I'm going to be honest. It was too out there. He looked like he should not fit in Buffy. He looked like he should have been in some, like, shitty sci-fi movie or sci-fi show. He looked more like, because he looked like a cyborg alien thing. He didn't, and I get it, he's a bunch of parts put together, but he looked more like Like, you might as well just give him like a Terminator looking eye, you know? It was his design was too out there, so he's probably the biggest negative of season 4. I'm trying to think of another season 4 problem. Because honestly, I think besides Adam, I like everything else. Spike starts becoming an anti-hero, has some genuinely funny scenes. I think season 4, to be honest, is probably one of the funnier seasons. I thought like I guess if I had to go real quick negative, Parker, I think that whole arc, I don't want to call it an arc, but that whole story was stupid. I think you should have just had Riley be a thing from the jump and Buffy was into him. You didn't need to do the whole Parker thing. It was, to me, just a waste of it. Like that beginning season, the beginning of that season was basically like those first few episodes was too focused on a Parker. I did not care. To me, it was not needed. You can kind of skip over that and just go right into her being with not Angel, with Riley. So I guess now, yeah, let's get into the pros, because really, season 4 is very well done. I think at this point, the show, as much as I love seasons 1 through 3, I felt like because it was in high school and it was about a high school girl, it was definitely more, I would say, the show was definitely a bit more geared towards girls. I felt like season 4 and on, really, at this point, it felt like the show kind of did become for everybody, because they definitely started doing darker themes. Like, the gentlemen were there. That's probably my biggest positive right there. The amount of great single like episodes, Hush, fucking the finale, the legit finale, the stuff with Faith, pretty much the 2-episode Faith arc. Like, there was so much good in 4. That's why I don't really get people who put it in the negative. Like, yeah, it's not as strong as like my top 3, but my top 4 really, but season 4 has some good. The dynamic between the Scoobies is straight up on. This is pretty much the version of the Scoobies we get. Besides, Oz is pretty much out of the show at this point because he leaves that season, and that's when Tara comes in. I thought the way they brought Tara in was so natural. It didn't feel forced at all. I felt like and the way they connected it to Angel, but going back to the Gentleman, for the fact that they were 1-episode villains, and they're like the strongest force in that whole, in terms of villains for me, that season. They were like, they felt like legit horror movie villains. Like, I'm a horror guy, so like I kind of can go back to that and like, yeah, I can see these guys having their own movie where they just take souls and, evil's voices. They were genuinely creepy, great design. So yeah, they were definitely some of the best. Like that, they were the best villain that season. And part of me kind of went like, man, I wish you had a bit more episodes with them. But it works. So the fact they were for 1-episode villain, they carried. The way, like I said, the show would tie into Angel was perfect. Some of the greatest single like pangs, the Thanksgiving episode, like Spike's arc starts kind of becoming more of an anti-hero after he gets the chip. And I think season 4 has some genuinely, of like, if I had to say just by funny, I think season 4 might be the funniest season. I felt myself laughing, especially with Spike. Like, when he tries to bite Willow and the fucking, it didn't work. And if you think it's like he's about to bite Willow, they may give you that dramatic, and then like the next scene, they're just sitting separately. It's like Spike's acting like he couldn't perform. It was funny. Like, I thought season 4 genuinely was good. It's just the villain. And it was an awkward last episode, because the real last episode was episode 21, but for some reason they swapped it and had 22 be, because that was like almost like a solo episode, like on its own. Like, that should have probably been like in the earlier episodes, or you switch it and have that be episode 21. And yeah, but anyway, I do like Angel season 4. So Buffy season 4, sorry. Angel season 4, I'll talk about that next week. So now we're getting to basically all the positives now. Pretty much my top 4. Number 4 is season 6, and I guess we'll definitely start with the cons, because there is some cons. But I still like this season. My problem with season 6 mainly is too much of the Buffy Spike stuff, man. If they were gonna do it, they should have just made them a legit couple. The whole fucking, I don't even know what to call it. Can't call it friends with benefits. The fucking, I guess I'm just gonna say hate fucking that they did. To me, it started off fine, but then it just became an anchor, and it was just dragged the season down. And this is a quick moment. They didn't need to bring Riley back either. That was kind of a. I almost just now skipped that episode because it's like, do we really need to see Riley again? It's like Riley was off. He left. I actually like the way season 5 left when he just left and buff. Like, it's like you didn't need to bring him back just for an episode. It was kind of a waste. So, um, but yeah, the Buffy Spike stuff, I just think brought the season down and almost ruined Spike's kind of growth too, because it led to that shitty moment in the bathroom. I don't know why. Why the fuck did they write that? When James Marsters and Sarah Michelle Gellar both hated it, they're clearly not into it. So why do that? Why do they have to do that? You kind of ruin Spike's growth. Not just, I know it sounds like I'm just being a Spike, but in general, the writing in general kind of brought Buffy down. And I get it. They were trying to go for like, oh, she came back from death. And they should have did more of that instead of the whole heaven thing. I would have rather them focus on Buffy having to adjust on being brought back from the dead. Because I think that would have been more interesting. I don't know. The whole she came back from heaven thing was kind of weird. Willow's magic addiction. I don't know what that was, so on the nose being a drug addiction. That was too over the top, man. That was so on the nose of being a drug addiction thing, and it just was annoying as shit. And it made no sense because it's like Willow's done magic since season 2, but really 3 is when she started being like really good with it. So 3 or 4 seasons. Why is she fucking now like getting addicted to it? Why does it work like that now all of a sudden, like drugs? I don't know. It felt like one, they were trying to start setting a wedge between Willow and Tara. I get that. You could have did that differently. You didn't have to do it like that where the magic thing, that was so weird when Willow's been doing magic before this. Why wasn't she addicted in season 5 or even 4? Because by 4 really is when she started really being good with magic. Definitely, especially in 5, but like, so those 4 and 5 is when she was really becoming like really good with magic. So it's like, why wasn't she addicted then? It was so contrived, and it was just so on the nose, man. It was so like, get it, it's like drugs, even though I don't. Would magic work like that? So that's like my main negatives, really. Willow's magic addiction and the Buffy Spike stuff were the only real things that dragged the season down for me. They didn't need to break Xander and Anya up either. I just think they're just doing that for drama's sake now, like, because they're making such a big deal about the weddings. Oh, let's subvert expectations. They don't get married. It's like, come on. Like, there needed to be one kind of happy thing going on in that season. And I'm not against how dark that season went. It's more, I just wish, at least, I think Xander and Anya should have been the one positive. And you didn't need to do it like that. It was very contrived, that whole reason they broke up. Well, not broke up, but why Xander had to cancel the wedding and all. It was so weird how they did it. But I guess we can get into positives now, because really those were like my main negatives of 7 or 6. Sorry. Oh fuck! Before I get into that, it just hit me. Some of Giles' decisions make no sense either. Why did Giles leave? Why the fuck would he leave when Buffy was just brought back? Wouldn't he want to stay? And the whole reason, I get it in real life, it was because Anthony Stewart Head wanted to spend more time with his family. I understand that. Then write him out differently. Have him, I get it's kind of cheesy, but do a coma, something. Having him just leave makes no sense. And the reason he leaves too is stupid. Oh, you rely on me too much, when that's not true. That doesn't even make any sense, realistically. When Buffy's kind of outgrown Giles, at least, you'd probably say by 4, really. So why now are you like, it makes no sense. Where's this coming from? It was so contrived because they needed Giles to leave. They need to then write him out better. Granted, his entrance back is fucking awesome. I want to test that theory. I fucking love that. That is a fucking cool entrance. So I do think season 6 has some positives. Like, for example, I really like the tone. I like the idea of kind of, yeah, no, we had a god as a villain. So they should have really just been, the villain should have been just Dark Willow, but like this Willow's descent into darkness. They should have did that instead of it being a magic addiction. Or maybe if you're gonna have it be an addiction, she starts getting more into the dark magic aspect. It should have been something like that, not actual drug addiction. Um, but I really like the idea of life kind of kicking Buffy in the ass. They should have. I like the idea of Buffy kind of, coming back. I like how they. I think the way they brought her back works, and I thought there were some really good performances. And I mean, I like dark tones, so I thought it worked. Um, I thought the finale was good. Dark. I love how dark it went in terms of the violence too. Like, I mean, the show was in a way kind of always violent. I mean, they showed teenagers getting killed, but man, like you saw Warren get fucking skinned like Hellraiser style. Like that was like bruh. Dark Willow in general was a good villain. I thought Allison Hannigan really showed how good of an actress she is. She played basically a different version of herself, like a complete opposite of the Willow we know. Let me just check something. I just wanted to make sure it was still fucking filming. But yeah, like I thought Allison Hannigan did a really good job of showcasing, like, you know what, you're actually versatile. You can play different characters. I mean, even to an extent, like she shows that with like she was doing American Pie at the time. I felt like her American Pie character is way different from Willow, so she could showcase she has range. So I think season 6, I liked it because of the tone. I definitely brought it down because some of the negatives, especially my second rewatch, I'm like, yeah, it kind of brings it down to a 4. I still like it. It's just, it's not my third place anymore. My new third place is Buffy season 5. The more I was noticing when I was watching that season, like, yeah, this is. This season has literally some of the best episodes. The body, Spike. The episode where we find out Spike's past. And how he killed the other 2 Slayers. The gift, the finale. In my opinion, one of the best villains of the season of the show with fucking Glory. And I guess I'll go into cons first before I get into the more of the positive. I felt like Dawn's introduction, I'll admit, I think Dawn's a lot more tolerable to me, mainly because she gets better in 6 and 7. And even towards the middle and end of this season, she gets better. I do think her introduction's still not great. Because, like, for 4 seasons, Buffy did not have a sister, and then it's like I'm supposed to, like, buy she has a sister all of a sudden. And she was a bit of a plot device at times. But eventually they fixed that a little bit towards the end. It was just, there was moments where it was that. What's another negative? I don't really think there's much. I think that's like really it for me. Like that's like probably the only one real negative is that. I guess really quick one is not how Riley leaves, but the way they had to try to force a wedge between Buffy and Riley was kind of weird. They had to make it seem like, oh, Buffy's stronger than me, which makes no sense. Like, Riley would understand, okay, she's the Slayer. It makes sense she's stronger than me. Why would he? And I guess they were doing the whole he didn't feel needed because Buffy was going to other people. Like, Buffy didn't even go to him about her mom getting sick or her mom dying. So I guess they were going for that. And then so he went to, like, vampire, I don't even know what to call it, and basically let vampires suck his, like a vampire chick suck his blood. It was so stupid. It was kind of forced. It was clearly they were trying to set them up to break up. Like, you could have did something a bit more creative than just doing That's like, I don't know. Would Riley do that? I don't. I feel like his character would not go to like, yeah. But that's like it really, because we're now the positives. Really, this has some of the fucking best episodes, man. I mean, I guess we can just go into the body alone. That to me, that is, if we're going like purely acting, that is probably the best acting in the entire show from everybody, from Sarah Michelle Gellar finding her mom. Everything about that episode was perfect. When he found her mom, there was no music. I liked the way they not killed her mom, but had her mom die. They didn't have her get. They could have did the easy thing and have Lori kill her, but they had. It was smart to have her die naturally. You know why? Because there's something Buffy can't just punch in the face. You know, it works so much better thematically, especially with what's going on with Glory. It works. So even just like some of the standalone episodes, Dracula episode, that could have been bad. I thought that was decent. I kind of wish Dracula, maybe that could have been a two-parter, but it's fine. Um, it was still a good episode. I, in general, love just the Spike's growth from kind of more of an anti-hero, because he had antagonistic moments in 4, um, where, so 5, he's straight up, like, helping the Scoobies, even though, yeah, initially he's still kind of making fun of them. He, and I even like Harmony being a vampire. I thought that was funny. Like, I think the show had that same funny tone. The characters are all, they all 5 seasons in now. The chemistry's just off the roof. Like, it's just natural at this point, the way they talk to each other. But yeah, the body just acting from everybody, even just the little details of like the sound. I kind of like that episode. There wasn't a lot of like, as much as I love the action and stuff, it wasn't a lot of action because they had. I really liked that they were more focusing on Buffy's mom, you know, because that was a big deal the way that happened, and it was. I'll admit, when I first watched that episode, I was like, holy shit, I wasn't ready for that, and yeah, I love that episode, and then the finale, the gift. I think, in my opinion, I don't blame some people who say, you know what, that to me is where the show ends. Because there's some people who feel like 6 and 7 in general just weren't needed. Yeah, season, that could easily work as the true finale. It's such a good episode. It was such a good final battle in general, the lead up to the final battle. I even like the moment where Buffy, when after Glory takes Dawn, Buffy like basically shuts down. I thought that was great. Like I think in general what I really liked about this season, escalation, because Glory was she's a demigod. She's like the way she just, and I like how the juxtaposition. She was this like girly looking chick, and she's a fucking one of the strongest villains. She in general like was a threat, and even just thought her performance, and I love how ditzy she was. I love it was funny but also threatening, like when she, you know, broke Tara's hand and basically takes like your kind of brain. She's a great villain, and the Willow trying to confront her was great. Spike kind of going from, because yeah, obviously he started having the crush on Buffy, which a little bit they did laid on a little thick, but eventually when Spike refused to, because Spike gets kidnapped by Glory, and Glory tortures him to try to get the location of the key, because Spike knows Dawn is the key, but Spike didn't sell them out, and that's when he started becoming like a hero, and started kind of becoming accepted into the group. And that finale was so good, man. And when Buffy, that whole speech before she sacrificed herself was great. That could have worked as the finale. I don't blame people. For me, I'm fine with the finale we got in 7, but I don't blame some people. And like I said, it's just we get into Spike's past and how he killed the two potentials. I mean, the two Slayers he killed. Glory, like I said, was a strong villain. I think it was, and even the episode where Buffy just gets beaten. You know, that's why the show is great, because yeah, like I said, she's not a Mary Sue. She got beaten by like a regular vampire. This wasn't like some special vampire. It wasn't an angel or Spike beating her. It was fucking just a random vampire. So I thought that was great. Even the moment when Spike, because that end that episode, because Buffy like pushes him and basically told Spike, he's not fucking worth it. Spike like ready to kill her, and then that change when he sees Buffy crying because she finds out about her mom being sick. That was fucking great acting. Like there was some really. That's why season 5 I had to go up. I couldn't watching yeah, this is the third best season easily. The amount of good. Yeah. So season 5 is a banger. It's definitely, there's more good than bad. Dawn is a bit annoying at first, but even then, I think it's better towards the end. It's not as annoying. But now on to my top 2, which we are basically haven't changed. Buffy season 3, my number 2. Buffy season 3 was such a good follow up to 2. I like that it was the way they. I don't really have any negatives, to be honest. Here, I love the introduction of Faith to the team. I love Angel coming back, and there were so many just good scenes. This was peak Buffy to me, along with season 2. But the mayor was a great villain, and I thought it had some great kind of single episodes too. The final episode, Graduation Day, was great. Faith turning bad was awesome. I love that whole Buffy and Angel had a good relationship. Part of me does wish it could have they could have been a thing, but I understand why. And the way they set Angel up to for his show was awesome. So I definitely love Buffy season 3. I always love when we get there after watching because it's like I said, it's a good follow up to season 2. I'd say though, skip the first episode because all that episode is basically what's Buffy doing in I think it's LA where she lives in, or somewhere else in California. But it's to me, it's not a needed episode. It doesn't really add anything. I think they here and there go back to Sunnydale, but to me, episode 2 is really where it starts the season for me because Buffy's back in Sunnydale. Where actually, you could kind of skip that episode. That episode is almost, you could look at it as a prologue that you could choose or not to watch. I watched it the first time because, I watched this because I was just watching it, so of course I'm going to put it all in order. But now, yeah, I'd probably just skip that one. It's just a prologue that if you here's what Buffy was doing in LA, which you don't really need. It was just and the episode isn't that great anyway. So I would just say, start from episode 2. That's basically the real episode 1. But, yeah. But now into my number 1, season 2. It's not hard. Season 2 to me the show was at its peak. I love the start of the show. Because they were making it seem like it was going to be the anointed one. Because in actuality, the kid who was going to be the anointed one, aged up crazy. So that's why they had to change up, and that's why they went, in my opinion, the best villain of the show, Angelus. The way David Boreanaz showed he showed his range, man. When he was Angel, and then when he was Angelus in that season, he was a fucking menace, bro. He was scary. The fucking moment he just goes in on Buffy, it's that change. You think he's still Angel, and then it's that slowly, Buffy, you're kind of realizing there's something up with Angel. Well, I guess we know because we saw him kill a girl. Wait, what? He just killed this chick. I love the moment with Jenny Calendar, man. That's one of the most surprising. In general, that whole episode was good, but I didn't think she was gonna. I was thinking when I first watching it, I was like, she's gonna probably get away. She'll probably get away. And then horror movie moment, she runs and then he's right there, and then he kills her, and it's bro. And then when he was watching everyone's reaction afterwards, when he was watching Buffy and reacting to finding out about Miss Callard. It's so good, man. It's so fucking good. Spike, my favorite character being introduced the way they introduced him was great. And Drusilla, season 2 had some good standalone episodes too. I feel like, but overall the whole story was good. I guess Angelus, man, he stole. In my opinion, David Boreanaz stole the season. I definitely feel like he was such a good villain. The finale is great. The way that it ends with Angel getting his soul back, and it's like, man, or Giles' reaction. I should have talked about that. Yeah, Giles' reaction to Jenny because he finds her body because he thinks it's like this romantic gesture that she did, and then it's like, no, yeah, dude, this show season 2 was like at its peak, man. It went dark. They really showed how dark they could get. And also Cordelia's growth as a character. It starts her growth. I guess I could include that in 3, where where she ends up going an angel. But yeah, man, Buffy season 2 is such a banger. The whole season, the character dynamic was there between the team. Even though Angelus was like only around for like I think 3 or 4 episodes. I don't know, not 3. I think it was like 4 or 5 episodes. He definitely he showed that, like, dude, every time I watch season 2, it's like I can't wait for Angelus, man. So season 2, but overall, Buffy is such a great series. Great characters, great story. This was when Hollywood could still write, like, a female character. Female characters in general that were not Mary Sue's. They were all flawed. Buffy's flawed. Willow's flawed. Anya's flawed. And yeah, like, there are some seasons I like more than others, but overall, it's still a great series. And I definitely say, if you've not seen it, watch it. It's a good series. Even if, like, yeah, it starts out a little girly, but to be honest, it gets pretty dark pretty quick, especially in season 2. So, anyway, Extraction review tonight. I'm gonna put Extraction 2 on Extraction on probably after this video. So, anyway, guys, I'm gonna cheers and talk to y'all later. All right, guys. All right, y'all. See y'all later. Peace.